Welcome into the Analyst in the Armchair, an NFL podcast where one host is obsessed with stats and spreadsheets, and the other just really loves yelling at the TV on game day and has plenty of opinions. Together, Michelle and Nycole dive into player news, weekly matchups, and all the storylines you'll be talking about with your friends. Whether you're a hardcore or casual football fan, they've got something for you.
Welcome into the episode 6 of the Analyst and the Armchair. I'm the Analyst. My name is Michelle Majuk, and this is Nycole Bernstein, the Armchair. We have a very fun episode for you today. Unfortunately, we had to start with some injury news that we'll get to, but besides that, we have a lot of fun games to dive into for week 4, and every single week, we give all of our predictions for the winners and losers of each game, and we've been keeping track of our results. Now, I have been doing a little bit better than you. I am 37-10, with 5 of those losses coming in week 3. Not great. I was really killing it for the first 2 weeks. You're at 29-19.
Listen, I'm not proud of it, but it's early, and we'll go from there.
It's a long season. You have plenty of time to come back.
That's right.
But you have a big gap to try to make up here. But we had to come up with a punishment by the end of the season.
Right.
So if anyone has any fun ideas, throw it in there. Throw in our comments on YouTube, or when you leave a review, give us an idea of what you want the punishment to be, and make it good. Because I'm looking like I'm going to win. So
yeah.
If it was the opposite way, I wouldn't want it to be too spicy.
Yeah.
No, don't be kind.
Yeah, I'm it's a long season. And so let us know your thoughts, your comments. We'd love to hear them.
For the rest of the way, I could just pick the same games as you, and then I would automatically win.
Well, that would be lame.
That would be
number
super
1.
lame.
And number 2, that would be the right call because I'm going to pick everything.
Oh, okay.
Correctly.
So yes, we'll be going through all 16 games. We'll be going deeper into some of the better games. We agree on some, we disagree on others. We'll have some really good debates. But first, we're going to get into our opening drive where we discuss all the latest NFL news.
The opening drive.
It is Jackson Dart time in New York. I mean, we were calling this right after week 1, and then week 2, Russ comes out and kills it against the Cowboys defense. I guess we shouldn't have been too excited about that because they let everyone kill them, apparently.
Right.
And then week 3 just plummets. He's so bad against the Chiefs. I'm really excited to watch Jackson Dart, though.
Yeah, that's very exciting for him and everyone who's followed him. But I think Russell Wilson, I've told you since last year when he was with the Steelers that he's garbage. And he just had an injury. And so nobody really knew how bad he actually was. And then he goes to New York and I was like, this is a terrible idea. He does have those 3 touchdowns against Dallas, but he also has 3 interceptions for the year. He's garbage. And
You really don't like Russell Wilson.
I really don't. I just don't believe like you should play until you're bad.
Yeah,
like he has a great history with Seattle.
If he would have retired after Seattle, he may have had a really solid chance at the Hall of Fame. And now I think he just completely ruined it.
And that's what I mean. I don't believe in that. And so for that reason, I'm correct. And that I told you, I said, I think he makes it out of week 3 and that's about it. And here we are.
No, I am happy the Giants are moving on. They're 0-3. Why not? Right. See if Brian Daboll's trying to save his job. What I'm really happy about that they're not just going to Jameis Winston and trying that out.
Right.
Jameis Winston's a lot of fun to watch, but he would have also lost you games. So go to Jackson Dart, see what you have in your first round pick. I'm excited to watch him. I'm excited for hopefully Malik Neighbors to get better targets. And, I might be predicting them to win this week in an upset against a team I very, very much like, but spoiler alert there. We got to talk about some injuries. Unfortunately, my 49ers cannot stop with the injuries.
I don't know what happens in San Francisco.
The water.
There's
something
bad.
in the water.
It's bad.
I don't even understand. But Nick Bosa. So this is actually the first big defensive injury this year. It's all been on the offense so far. Nick Bosa out for the year. It's not even just a normal injury. It's out for the year. Torn ACL. It's the same knee he tore a few years back. So that's even bigger worries about him coming back and being good next year. Yeah. But last season when Nick Bosa was out, it was not pretty. However, it also kind of coincided with Brock Purdy missing time. So we don't know what that's going to look like. But they allowed nearly 29 points per game in the 3 games Nick Bosa missed last year. They are 6-12 without Bosa since 2019.
It's unfortunate because he's such a threat. Even if he's not doing anything, him being on the field is such a threat to offenses. So it's really unfortunate for the 49ers.
And really no one else on this team since he's been there has done anything in the sack department. He is like, now luckily they traded for Bryce Huff this year. They did draft an edge rusher in the first round and Nycole Williams. I thought it was a huge reach. Hopefully these guys can step up.
Well, and it gives them an opportunity, right? And for the team to see what they have in these guys and for them to play some games that they normally wouldn't get to.
Luckily, they have a super, super easy schedule. Luckily, they're 3-0. So I still think they make it to the playoffs. It's like, can they be a Super Bowl contender, though? With all these injuries they're already dealing with. And then without Nick Bosa, that's going to be a hard thing to overcome. We have some other injuries across the offenses that happened in week 3. Mike Evans, hamstring injury, expected to be out 3 to 4 weeks. CeeDee Lamb, also expected to be out around that amount as well with an ankle injury. We'll see if Terry McLaurin, he's trying to get a second opinion. We'll see if he can play this week. But that Mike Evans and CeeDee Lamb injuries, I think, are extremely important to their offenses. Like the Cowboys are already 1-2.
Right.
Dak's already kind of struggling. The defense is so incredibly bad that the offense has to score so much just to keep up. Without CeeDee Lamb, I think they're in a lot of trouble.
Well, it's unfortunate because, these are the guys for these teams. And so it's like, who is Dallas just going to depend on the run now? Because it kind of seems like their only option. And then you've got Mike Evans for the Bucks and the rookie, Emeka Egbuka, has been playing very well. And I think he will continue to do so. I think the problem now, though, is for them is that defenses don't have to work as hard to guard him because there's no Mike Evans on the field, right? Good news for them is that Chris Godwin had a full practice today. And so they might be getting him back. So, they'd have to rely on the rush a bit more, but that's at least some good news for the Bucks.
Yeah, it is huge. They could be getting back Chris Godwin and their star left tackle, Tristan Wirfs. That would be huge for them, unfortunately. Like, when Mike Evans was out last year, Baker's numbers did drop quite significantly. It's a 3-game span. Now, also, Chris Godwin was out that time because he got hurt in week 7 and hasn't played since then. So maybe with Chris Godwin and Emeka Egbuka, it'll all be okay. I'm much more worried about the Cowboys offense without CeeDee Lamb. Now, at least they have George Pickens, but CeeDee Lamb is the dude there.
Well, and again, it makes it easier for defenses against you. Yeah. So we'll see.
And then we had 2 massive running back injuries. Weirdly, for both running backs used to be the Steelers starting running back, James Conner and Najee Harris. They both had season-ending injuries in week 3. Ankle injury for James Conner. Najee Harris tore his Achilles. So not only is he out for the year, we don't even know if he's ever going to be back and be a starting running back or have like a significant role anywhere. Huge for fantasy. If you have a Marion Hampton, the rookie for the Chargers. Like, I think the Chargers are okay. They're set up. They drafted a running back early. They're going to be okay. Right. And, Trey Benson for the Cardinals, I think they're going to be completely fine without Connor on the ground. Trey Benson can handle it. I think where they're going to really miss Connor is in the passing game because Connor's such a really underrated pass catcher.
Yeah, well, and the Chargers have the advantage that they've already been giving Hampton a decent amount of reps. I think the unfortunate thing for the Cardinals is that Connor is the guy, he carries the load. And so it's an opportunity for Trey Benson, but he has to take the opportunity and the offense has to rely on him. I think the other interesting storyline that could come from this is Hampton having more touches. It could, towards the end of the season, be an interesting thing to compare he and Ashton Genty.
Yeah, right now Ashton Genty is not looking great. And I was able to steal Ashton Genty from Nycole in our fantasy league because she kind of freaked out on his non-great performances so far.
Listen, I don't love when a guy comes out of a draft with like such high expectations. While it's fun, it makes me nervous. And so, yes, I did make a trade that I don't know how I'm going to feel about in about 3 weeks.
I got Ashton Genty for Travis Etienne, straight up.
Right.
You're right. No,
But
I mean, right now, ETN's destroying
Right.
Genty in fantasy.
And I like my team for the long haul.
Mhm.
So I don't know that that's going to like make or break my team. So
She's just overly confident because she won the league last year.
we'll keep you posted on how that's going for each of us. But I still think it was a good trade.
Let's transition into our main segment, Between the 20s, which is where we get into all 16 games that are happening in week 4, give you our input on how we think those games are going to go.
Between the 20s.
All right, let's start with the first game of the week. It's Thursday Night Football. It is a divisional game between the Seahawks and the Cardinals, which, by the way, I think both teams are kind of overrated just in terms of like overall people's opinions of them. And I think it's because they both have a 2-1 record and people are kind of over exaggerating the Cardinals winning their first 2 games against terrible opponents. But Thursday Night Football, Seahawks are 1.5 point favorites. Who are you taking in this matchup?
Okay. Well, I think like every other week, I think I'd have to look back. I'm taking Seattle. But that's different because I think I've also been taking Arizona. So I did have to make a decision this week about the two. Listen, I don't think Seattle's overrated at all. They're
Sam Darnold sucks.
They're in the. You just don't like Sam Darnold. They're in the top 5 rankings for both offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that loves stats. I just feel like that's like a good stat to know.
Well, most of that came playing the Saints. You know, they destroyed them this week.
Okay. Well, either way, I think their offense will continue to be a problem. I think Arizona's defense is fine. So I like that in the matchup. And then, but like I said earlier, I do think it'll be interesting to see Trey Benson take the majority of the work this week. And so we'll see. But I definitely think Seattle definitely covers this spread easily.
Yeah, I'm also taking Seattle, even though I have no trust in Sam Darnold. I would love to go against him, but I have no trust in the Cardinals even more, right? Like the Seahawks, cool. They beat up on the Saints, the worst team in the league. Like every team's going to keep beating up on them. Spencer Rattler stinks, right? And then they lost to the 49ers in week 1, and they certainly should have lost to the Steelers in week 2. There was just 2 insane plays where Pat Freiermuth tips the ball up in the end zone for an interception, and then Caleb Johnson forgets the rules on the kick return. So Sam Darnold had 2 interceptions in that game that should have lost them the game. They came through, but I mean the Cardinals, Kyler Murray in that offense is just no good whatsoever. Marvin Harrison Jr. can't get going, and until they fire Drew Petzing, nothing's going to change. James Conner injury is not going to help them, especially in the passing game. They haven't even hit 300 total yards in a game yet. So the Seahawks defense is going to control this game.
Right. Yeah. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah. So Seahawks take it -1.5. And I think they cover pretty easily. I think they probably win by a touchdown at least. Now we have an international game, our first one of the season, and it's our first ever NFL game in Ireland. Going to be in Dublin. We got the Vikings against the Steelers, and it's not JJ McCarthy starting. It'll still be Carson Wentz, right? But one start with Carson Wentz, and they destroyed the Bengals.
Yeah,
it was also with their backup quarterback in Jake Browning, who could not have been more atrocious in that game. Mm-hmm. Steelers, they're doing their thing. They are 2-1. They could easily be 3-0, like I just mentioned in that Seahawks game. But watching them, it's not great, right? Aaron Rodgers is struggling behind the offensive line. The defense is giving up a lot of big plays, but they had so many turnovers this last game that they're able to come through against the Patriots. Who are you taking in the Steelers-Vikings matchup?
I'm taking the Vikings.
Shocker, you're going against Aaron Rodgers. The amount I have for Sam Darnold, you have for Aaron Rodgers.
That's probably true. Honestly, one of my notes, I kid you not, says, Aaron Rodgers is old. I don't think traveling will do him well.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's what I'm going to say to you now when you travel internationally. Well, you're old. Your body can't handle it.
I'm just saying he looks old on the field. I don't know that sitting on a plane for, let's see, I just did that trip, 12 hours is going to do him any good. Huh? Oh yeah, exactly. So I think that's part of it. Like you said, Carson Wentz started out really solid last week for the Vikings. I think that continues. I think it's unfortunate for JJ McCarthy because, he had 1 out of 8 innings
innings.
Oof.
Wow, baseball girl
Quarters.
over here.
It's not a good time for me right now in baseball. But he had 1 out of 8 quarters that was good.
Mhm.
And so it's going to be tricky for the Vikings, I think, to go back to JJ McCarthy, in my opinion.
Wow.
I know that's bold, but
they'll be fine doing that once Carson Wentz stinks it up over the next couple weeks.
and we'll see if he does. But I think the thing for the Vikings to win this game is they play better statistically when their offense is more balanced. So playing, doing almost the same amount of yards and plays with the rush and the pass. And so I think if they continue to keep the offense balanced in that way, I think they have a really good shot. And the Steelers defense looks like a JV, football team. It's bad. And so for that reason, I'm taking the Vikings.
I think that's all fair. Now, I do think their defense showed up a lot more this past week. They did get lucky with some things with Ramondre Stevenson fumbling at the goal line. Now, they forced a fumble, but it's not hard to force a fumble on Ramondre Stevenson. He's fumbled 9 times since the start of last year. It's embarrassing for him. Yeah. And then also they got Cam Hayward to tip that pass. The Patriots wide receiver was wide open in the end zone. So as much as their defense only allowed 14 points, at the same time, they got lucky, right? So I do think their defense still worries me. They need to be able to shut down Jordan Mason, and then I think Carson Wentz would fall apart. But I will say Vikings backup quarterbacks have been really, really good in their first start under Kevin O'Connell. But in their second start have been very, very bad.
You're only saying that because of Sam Darnold.
No. He wasn't a backup quarterback. He was their starter.
I thought you were just trying to find a way to dig on Sam Darnold.
No. So there's been 3 backup quarterbacks to play in the Kevin O'Connell era. It was Nick Mullins, Joshua Dobbs, and Jaren Hall. In their first start, they combined for a 2-1 record, averaged over 27 points per game, had 103 passer rating combined. In their second start, though, they went 0-3 and a 70.4 passer rating combined with just 3 total touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So once the opponents got tape on those quarterbacks and how they play in the system, it wasn't as easy anymore. However, Brian Flores' defense is going to blitz Aaron Rodgers like crazy, and I don't know if Rodgers can handle that. I do think this is going to be a close game. The Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. I could see this game being a 3-point game. So I probably would want to stay away from the line, but I do think the Steelers will win.
Okay, I think you're wrong. Yeah. So hopefully for our head-to-head matchup, I'm correct.
Yeah. Now we have another game we agree on here. So we won't have to fight on this one. It's the Ravens against the Chiefs. The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites in Arrowhead. That's very rare for the Chiefs not to be favorites at home. I actually don't know when the last time that was. I should have looked it up.
The thing about this game, though, is the Ravens haven't looked good.
On defense, their offense, or Lamar Jackson looks so good.
I was going to say, that's a whole stat line in and of itself. Derrick Henry with another fumble.
If he hasn't fumbled, they are very likely 3-0. At least 2-1.
Do you know how many fumbles he had last year?
I don't.
Total? 3. No. Do you know how many he has this season in 3 weeks?
Look at you teaching me stats.
It's because I love Derrick Henry, and I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
So I was like looking around for some kind of evidence of what's happening. I'm so sad for him. He cannot be fumbling the ball.
And I think that's the only thing that has to be fixed in this game, right? Like the Ravens to go far in the playoffs, they need to fix their defense. And their run defense has been bad, and they don't have a very good pass rush for sure. But their offense is so much better than the Chiefs right now.
Oh, 100%.
Now the Chiefs are getting back Xavier Worthy. It looks like he was a full participant in practice on Wednesday, which is huge for his possibility of playing this week, which should help the offense. But they have no running game, right? And so I just don't see this Chiefs offense just destroying the Ravens defense like we've been seeing so far this season. With, to be fair, like the Ravens defense looks terrible, but they also face the Lions and the Bills, 2 of the best offenses in the league.
Right.
When they faced the Browns, they were fine, but everyone's going to be fine against them.
Well, not everyone, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, but that had more to do with the offense of the Packers and the defense.
Sure. But it's just not a given, I guess.
So we're both picking the Ravens.
Yes.
which is a scary thing to do. Now, one of these teams have to start 1-3, and I love that. It makes me so happy.
I love it too, and I would love it more if it was Kansas City.
Yeah, as a Steelers fan, I know I'm wearing a 49ers jersey. It gets very confusing. So for those of you who have not watched yet, I am both a Steelers and a 49ers fan. Hate on me all you want. It is what it is. They're at least in different conferences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got that going for you.
That's all I need. But Patrick Mahomes is 5-1 in his career against Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson has struggled against Steve Spagnuolo's defense throughout his career. So especially in the passing game. In the rushing game, he's completely fine. But as a passer, 57 completion percentage, 6.5 yards per pass attempt, only 6 passing touchdowns throughout those 6 games with 3 interceptions and a 79.8 passer rating. So Steve Spagnuolo has known how to stop Lamar Jackson as a passer. So they're going to have to run. Derrick Henry's going to have to step up and not fumble. And I think they'll handle it.
Yeah, I think the spread is like 2.5 points.
Mhm.
I do think it'll be a close game.
Mhm.
So I don't know that I would necessarily bet
Ravens
on
win by
that.
3.
That's probably accurate.
Someone blocks a field goal to win the game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The week of the blocked field goals this week.
Yeah. But Mahomes, I mean, he better be better with Xavier Worthy, because do you know that Lamar Jackson is averaging as many passing touchdowns per game as Mahomes has on the season? So Lamar's averaging 3 passing touchdowns a game. Mahomes has 3 passing touchdowns in the season.
That's pretty wild.
It's pretty amazing.
But he has nowhere to throw it to, so it's not that wild.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Tyquan Thornton just
He had a great
the
game
2 plays
last
a
week.
game is all they score on. Let's move on to another really, really good game. And this one we have different opinions on who will win. It is the Eagles going up against the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay.
Mhm.
The Eagles are on the road as favorites, -3.5. So, but I'm taking the Buccaneers. I actually think they pull through, even if they don't have Mike Evans. But you're picking the Eagles.
Yeah, because I don't think the Bucs have anything to show for their wins, quite frankly.
Okay.
They've won every game so far. They are 3-0. Hats off to them, as are the Eagles. But they've won every game in the last minute.
I know, because Baker's so good in the clutch. Baker's so clutch. I know you don't like him. I just can't even understand how someone doesn't like Baker Mayfield. You're just a hater if you don't love Baker Mayfield. I know his one thing in Ohio State that you're just holding on to forever.
I just don't like him. I'm entitled to my
He's
opinions.
a baller.
He's not, but okay.
He's not a baller?
No, I don't think so.
But that's just you being stubborn.
I just don't think he's that good.
He's a baller, I said.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
What is a baller then?
Like, just
if not
so clutch, always comes up when his team needs him.
But
will do anything to win the game. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. Like, he's just like the definition of someone you just love to root for. The only way I could see you hating him is if he was a divisional rival of your favorite team.
But I don't. Here's the thing. I think people say like, "Oh, they're so clutch in clutch moments." Like, he's not. He's only clutch in the moments he's clutch. I think that's like always a silly thing that people say.
Well, at the end of games, when they need him to step up, he steps up.
Okay, well, I disagree. But anyway, the Bucs are going to lose this week, so it doesn't matter, and then we won't have to talk about it ever again.
Okay.
I think it would be interesting to see if either quarterback throws an interception. Neither of them have one yet this season. I'm also looking for Saquon Barkley to play like, Saquon Barkley. Last week, he was just non-existent. Not that I'm bitter because he's on my fantasy team, but I like to see Saquon be Saquon, and I think he's going to step up and bounce back this week as well.
He's going to have to. The Buccaneers do have a pretty good run defense, though. So, but Barkley can beat really good run defenses, but they do have to get him going. Hurts has a 1-4 record against the Buccaneers in his career.
Wow.
The Buccaneers have won 6 of the last 7 matchups against the Eagles. The Buccaneers beat the Eagles last year in the regular season, 33-16.
Wow.
Now, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith did not play in that game. And now we're going to have not Mike Evans in this game. So that's a pretty big swing.
Yeah.
I will definitely give that. Now, it was only one of 3 losses by the Eagles last season that the Buccaneers won, and it was their only loss by more than 3 points. And they beat them by, 17? If I did that math quickly and correctly. And I did. Go me. But, I mean, the Eagles and the Buccaneers are both on great streaks right now of
Right.
winning. The Buccaneers have won 9 of their last 10 regular season games. The Eagles have won 19 of the last 20 games, including the playoffs. And so their only game they lost is when Jalen Hurts went out with an injury. And they were up 7 points at that point. No, sorry, they were up 21-7 when Jalen Hurts got the concussion.
Yeah.
And they ended up losing. But that's the only game they lost. So they know how to win.
Yeah.
So it is risky for me to take this bet. I just think we saw last week kind of the Eagles fall apart a little bit in the first half. Now they came back. But I think Baker Mayfield going up against the Eagles, I think he can handle it. I think he's going to get it done.
Well, but you also saw Jalen Hurts figure out the passing game last week as well.
Yeah.
So A.J. Brown had a great game, and I expect that to continue as well. So I think if they're firing on that cylinder and then as well with the rush with Saquon, I think they'll be just fine.
It could really come down to who can get it going, Bucky Irving or Saquon Barkley. I think whichever one of those running backs can get going on the ground and help out their quarterback just to open everything up, that could be the difference.
Yeah.
And I think the Buccaneers' run defense is stronger than the Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're wrong. But again, we'll see. I think that'll be a fun game to watch for that reason, watching those running backs.
It has to be the best game of the week, right? I wish Mike Evans was playing.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. And
But if
yeah, I
Chris
do
Godwin's
think this
back-
is probably the one. Yeah, that could make it interesting. Although I still think Bucky Irving,
Yeah.
supersedes him. But I guess we'll see. But yeah, this might be the fun game of the week for sure.
Now, I don't think this next game is going to be very fun because I think it's going to be a blowout. And it is on Sunday Night Football. And it should have been a great game, but the Cowboys don't know how to play football anymore. And it's the Packers going to Dallas. Packers are 6.5 point favorites on the road. And we're both taking the Packers. And I'm fine with taking the points too at 6.5 because
Ooh,
the Cowboys defense is so bad.
it's
They
very
can't
bad.
stop anything. And then on offense, they don't have CeeDee Lamb. And they have to go against the Packers' amazing defense
Mhm.
that has been just spectacular this year. And Micah Parsons' revenge game. I mean, how many sacks is he going to get in this game? It's not even about going after Dak. It's going to be like looking at Jerry Jones and being like, I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah,
Like,
looking up at the box.
yeah. So I don't see a world where the Packers don't just go in and beat up on the Cowboys.
Well, that and last week for them was embarrassing. Nobody thought they were going to lose that game.
There was no reason for them to. They were up 10 with like less than 4 minutes to go in the game.
Exactly. So, and I think that game for me was more about Cleveland than it was the Packers.
Oh, yeah, the Cleveland defense at home is really good.
Yes. And I think for Joe Flacco, like he needed a win. So that it says more to me about Cleveland than Green Bay. What?
It's just funny that you just said Joe Flacco needed a win.
He did need a win.
Yeah, I mean, everyone who doesn't have a win yet needs a win.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I think Green Bay is easily the favorite here. 6.5 points.
I'm not worried about it only because their defense is so bad. I mean, they just got beat up by the Bears offense that's been struggling.
Yes.
They cannot stop anybody. And with the Packers defense being so incredibly good, like it's just the complete opposites. I don't see I don't love the Packers offense when they have to go up against good defenses. That's why I did say I picked the Packers to win last week, but I did say I could see an upset where the Browns beat them at home.
Yeah.
And it happened.
Mhm.
And Jordan Love looked really, really bad. And the whole offensive line looked bad. And their offense looked bad in general. It's just not going to be the case against Dallas's defense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I love when Dallas loses in anything, any sport, anytime. So I'm happy. I'm happy to take the Packers.
Yeah. I'm not happy to take them because, I'm just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't love the overhype. I think Jordan Love is fine. I think he's a fine quarterback in the league. He's just so overhyped. And that's the only reason I don't like
Okay,
him.
but do you think, yes, preseason, I think everybody was like, oh my God, Green Bay, right?
And
Now
then
that-
after the first 2 weeks.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
And
They
I
look
mean,
good, yeah.
honestly, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But do you think now that there's been some time, it's been able to kind of, people are like, especially after last week, they're like, Green Bay's not like invincible or this like amazing team.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the hype has kind of worn down a little bit?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because you can't lose to Cleveland and have your hype still up because
Sure.
that's just embarrassing. But I do think I can see the Packers putting up 40 points against the Cowboys.
Wow.
Yeah. I can see this being like a 40 to 10 point game. So clearly I would take the points.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would take Green Bay -6.5. All right. Another randomly fun game. I mean, initially on the schedule, you would never look at this and be like, ooh, that's going to be a good game in week 4. But it is. It's the Colts against the Rams. Rams are 3.5 point favorites. Colts 3-0. I mean, Daniel Jones looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, after week 1, you're like, okay, maybe it was just a fluke. After week 2, you're like, well, let's see it again. And it's not just Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor is looking good. The defense is doing what they need to do. I am taking the Colts.
Yeah. I mean, and even though on paper it looks like the Rams, have the edge, I think the way they're playing these games makes sense. I didn't take the Colts. I took the Rams, but I can understand why you would do that.
It's just, I don't really understand how this offense is looking so good. They're averaging 34.3 points per game. It's tied for the second in the NFL, averaging 6.6 yards per play. That's first. They have 0 giveaways with Daniel Jones. They didn't even punt until what? Like the third quarter of week 3. It doesn't, none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I do think the Rams showed last week that they could stay in with really good, like the reigning Super Bowl champs, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know. I think these Colts just keep surprising teams. Like they have it in their mind that like, oh, it's just Colts.
Right.
And they're like, oh, shoot, they're good now.
It's the Colts.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this is the week we see Daniel Jones human.
Okay.
I don't know if he has an interception, but I do think we realize, that the Colts are just another team, kind of like Green Bay, right? We're all susceptible to losing games that quote unquote we should or shouldn't win.
Oh yeah, they're not going to go undefeated.
No, but I think the game's in LA.
Mm-hmm.
LA is coming off of losing that ridiculous game against the Eagles because of the blocked field goal for a touchdown return, which was even more wild. So I think the Rams are sneaky good.
Mm-hmm.
I at the beginning of the year kind of wrote them off. I was like, Matthew Stafford's old and probably hurt and whatever. But
I thought they were going to be better than they are.
Really?
Yeah, watching them like the first half of last week for sure. I was like, okay, they're killing it. First 2 weeks though, I was like, you know what? You're not really that impressive. And then we saw the second half.
I feel the exact opposite. Like Puka Nacua is crushing it.
He is.
I thought maybe Cooper Kupp leaving would like be bad. It isn't.
Devontae Adams a big upgrade.
They just keep it moving. So, I mean, I like the Rams here.
So I have a fun little stat here about Daniel Jones. So Jones has led the Colts to a 3-0 start, right? And they have scored 103 points, the Colts have. The last 2 quarterbacks to go undefeated with 100-plus points scored in the first 3 weeks for a team was Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs in 2018, and then Kurt Warner with the Rams in 1999. The Mahomes and Warner won MVP both of those seasons.
Oh, wow.
Now, do I think Daniel Jones is going to keep this up and win MVP? Probably not. But when you're on a list with those 2 guys.
Yeah, that's impressive. Can we also just go back in history just for 1 second? Remember at the beginning of the season, we were talking about Daniel Jones being the starting quarterback. And you were like, well, whatever. And I was like, it's Daniel Jones. You know what you're getting. I did not know what you were getting. I did not know he was going to be this good.
No, neither did I. I mean, we'll see how long it can last, but we've seen these turnarounds from guys and Geno Smith and Sam Darnold last year and Baker Mayfield even, who I love and I always had confidence in. He has, actually proved that he could turn it around. So maybe that's what we're getting out of Daniel Jones. Another game I want to get into here is the Commanders against the Falcons. Now, I really hope Jaden Daniels is playing in this game, but he can miss another week with Marcus Mariota playing. Michael Penix in that offense put up 0 points against the Panthers defense. I don't even know how that's possible. The Commanders are 1.5 point favorites, and we are both taking the Commanders in this game, and it fully has to do with how bad Michael Penix Jr. and the passing game looks. It's like all they have going for them is Brian Robinson Jr.
Right.
Not Brian Robinson Jr., Bijan Robinson.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I didn't think that initially. And then they come out last week against the Panthers, and it was like, Like I was kind of thinking like, oh, Atlanta's decent. And then after last week, I was like, no, it was like a fluke.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is an easy choice. Picking the Commanders. Hopefully Jaden Daniels is back. We'll see about Terry McLaurin. They're saying maybe he's injured, not sure if he's going to play or not. So that might come into play. But I'm excited for Bill Krosky Merritt. He played well last week.
With his limited snaps he got.
Well, sure, but he played well when he got them, right? And so yeah, I was really devastated when Washington lost last week. The week prior. But I'm back and feeling real good about my little Commanders.
Yeah, the Commanders have only lost one game so far, and it was in Lambeau, right? So,
right.
Their other two games, it was against the Giants and the Raiders, so you might kind of shrug them off, but they beat up on them. It wasn't like they were close wins. They beat up on them. And you can't say the same thing about the Falcons' easy schedule. I mean, they got smoked by the Panthers 30-0. Michael Penix Jr. has a 58.6 completion percentage, has one passing touchdown on the season to 2 interceptions. He is the only quarterback to start all 3 games this year and not have multiple passing touchdowns.
Wow.
And now he's 2-4 as a starter in the league with 4 passing touchdowns to 5 interceptions in those 6 starts. So he might just not be the dude, and maybe we see Kirk Cousins get his job back here this year.
I love Kirk Cousins. I would love to see that. But I mean, I don't want to write off Penix Jr. just because of last week.
So Penix Jr. is 0-4 in games where opponents score more than 8 points. Just 8 or more points.
It's not a good stat.
The only 2 games he's won is when their defense kept a team to under 8 points.
Yeah, it's not a good stat.
Sorry,
it's
dude. Not good. It's not good at all. He's been terrible in man coverage, and the Commanders play a very high man coverage rate. So I expect their defense to be able to stop the Falcons. I mean, Bijan Robinson's going to have to take over the game for the Falcons to win.
Absolutely.
And he could do it.
Yeah.
But that's all they need to do against the Panthers, and they couldn't do it then.
Right. Yeah, I don't. It's
now if Marcus Mariota is in, then anyone has a chance to win. But
and this game is only 1.5 points.
Yeah, I mean,
yikes!
Smash that,
yeah,
right?
Oh, easy, easy.
All right, we have the rest of the games that we're just going to go through and give you our picks because they're not too exciting of games. We have the Jaguars against the 49ers. Now the 49ers are 3-0. This could be a good game, but hoping Brock Purdy can be back in this game. Mac Jones re-injured his knee. So, I mean, we're both picking the 49ers and the 3.5-point favorites, but if both Mac Jones and Brock Purdy are out and they have to go to, I'm a 49ers fan, and I think his last name is Martinez for the third string quarterback. I mean, he's never played in the NFL whatsoever. Then I might change my mind. But the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence is just not it. He's just not it. So I am not worried about the Jaguars offense at all. And I think the 49ers, as long as Brock Purdy or Mac Jones are back there, they're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, obviously. I think the biggest question mark for this game is obviously the quarterback situation, but is Nick Bosa out really that big of a difference for
it will be, but not in this game, I don't think.
I think also like you have this fancy stat about McCaffrey playing against the Jaguars that you love, where he's like, beats up on them essentially. I think it's like 189. He averages 189 yards.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you said it one other time and I remembered it. But yeah, I think he's only played them twice, and both times I think he averaged 189 yards, which is bananas.
That is bananas.
So I think as long as he can keep his, average somewhere, even 150.
Well, he's getting utilized in the passing game so much, which is not normally good for an offense to have to use your running back that much.
Right.
But it's working out so far. And then hopefully once they get back, Juwan Jennings and George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk, their wide receiver 1, right? They won't have to lean on him as much. And the fact that they're already 3-0 with losing all of these guys and Brock Purdy being out for these last 2 games, I think speaks volumes. And I think they take care of business against the Jaguars.
Yeah, I think this is probably an easy one.
Now, this game really doesn't even need to be talked about whatsoever. It's the Saints against the Bills. I mean, just give the Bills a, like, if I'm the Saints, I'm like, you know what? Can we just not travel this week? Just give us the loss. They are 16.5-point favorites, the Bills are. It's so rare to see a line like this in the NFL. Like, yeah, you see these lines in college, but in the NFL, that's insane. Now, the Bills are at home. We're both picking the Bills, obviously. Yeah. Spencer Rattler's 0-9 in his NFL career, and the Bills have won. They're 12-0 with a plus 170 point differential at home since the start of last season, including the playoffs. And I don't even know what would have to happen for the Saints to win. It would have to be like the craziest turn of events where everyone just keeps fumbling and they get punt return, touchdowns, and all this crazy stuff for the Saints to pull this out. The Bills are going to destroy them.
They are, and I don't even know that Josh Allen plays the whole game.
Oh no, he's not.
Or even in the second half. You know, this is an unfortunate game. It's basically a bye week for the Bills, you know.
Now maybe they'll play clips like, I mean, not our clips unless, you know, they want to in the locker room. You know, the Saints will get their players up and be like, they're giving you no shot whatsoever. And that can hype up players and they can play out of their mind. But the Bills have scored at least 30 points in all 3 games this season. The Saints have allowed 30 points per game this season, and Spencer Rattler's just not going to get it done.
Yeah, agreed. This is a garbage game.
A garbage game. Now, another game that I do also expect to be garbage, even though the Browns kept it close against the Packers last week, and they play another NFC North opponent, but this time it's on the road, and I think that does matter. It's the Browns going to the Lions. The Lions are 8.5-point favorites. If this game was in Cleveland, I would again say it would be close. Yeah. But because this game's in Detroit, I'm giving it to Detroit. 8.5 points, though, it's quite large. And the Browns defense is quite good. I don't know if I would go 8.5 points, but I do think the Lions will win.
Yeah, I agree. I've really liked the Lions the last few weeks. I honestly was having some like 2023 flashbacks to the Lions, and they just were so fun to watch that year. And unfortunately, they lost in the NFC Championship. Well, I know.
Unfortunately,
I know. I'm just saying the team was
Didn't
so
you watch
fun.
That game with me?
I don't know, but I just remember yelling. Oh, no,
you know what? You didn't. Did you? Because I thought you wouldn't watch games with me anymore because you watched the Packers 49ers game with me.
That's the one we watched.
I think that was our first ever NFL game watching together of like me being watching one of my favorite teams, and I scared the crap out of her.
Well, and we were in public, and I was just like, I am not ready for whatever this is happening. So now we watch it at homes. But anyway, I do think I'm excited about the Lions right now. And that 1-2 punch of Gibbs and Montgomery is so fun. They both had 2 touchdowns last week. I think they're just going to ride that for a while. And I'm excited about that game.
Yeah, it will be interesting because the Lions are one of the best offenses in the league. They have been for a while now. The Browns are allowing the fewest total yards per game in the league. But again, like their one road game this year was against the Ravens, and they got destroyed, and they allowed over 40 points. So this has been a normal trend for the Browns. When they're at home, a very, very good defense. When they're on the road, they're not. So I think against the Lions on the road, I don't think their defense is going to do enough to stop it. Even if they can stop the run, they just have too many options in the passing game.
Yeah.
So again, 8.5 points though.
Yeah. It's going to be
I would just stay away from it.
Yeah.
Because I fully expect the Lions to win, but if it's by 7 points, I'm not going to be that surprised.
Right.
All right. Let's go to another game. We got the Bears and the Raiders, which could be a sneaky good game. It could be a sneaky good game.
Maybe. I don't think so, but sure.
Well, the Raiders are 1.5 point favorites, so Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. And shockingly, I am choosing the Raiders, and so are you. But that's not shocking for you.
No, I've been trying to give them some hope, but it's just messing up my record really every week picking them.
Yeah, the Raiders have gotten beat up the last 2 weeks by the Chargers and the Commanders, especially the Commanders last week, which is not ideal because they're playing Marcus Mariota and not Jaden Daniels.
Right. But 2 good teams. I mean, it's not like they lost to Miami.
Yeah. They beat the Patriots in week 1. That's their one win on the season. Now the Bears also only have 1 win, and it was against the Cowboys, and they look really, really good against Cowboys, but everyone does.
But it's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I think this Caleb Williams is not the guy. they're having to run the ball more because he can't throw the ball, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, I mean, I have 4 passing touchdowns this last week.
Against who?
The Cowboys.
Okay, so I think if Geno can have a clean game with no interceptions, they should, in my opinion, easily win this game.
Yeah, I don't think easily, but I do think like the Bears will be overrated this week with what they did against the Cowboys. And I do think they fall back to earth a little bit against the Raiders. And the Bears defense is giving up a lot of yards and a lot of passing yards. So Geno Smith should be able to get it done. Brock Bowers has been dealing with a bit of a knee injury. It's been slowing him down. So hopefully he can feel a little bit healthier this week and be more involved. I also think this is going to be the first week Ashton Genty goes off. I'm calling it. I think this is Ashton Genty's coming out party. Now, maybe it's because I traded for him. I'm just hopeful and biased, but I really do think he's going to go. They need to feed him like crazy, and they need to get him more involved in the passing game too.
Yes.
He's so good as a pass catcher in college, and all of a sudden he's just not getting anything. But the Bears have allowed the second most yards per carry in the league this year. They ranked 26 in rushing yards per game allowed. So like Ashton Genty should be able to do his thing.
I mean, I hope so for your sake.
Do you?
I
Hope
don't.
so?
No,
You're gonna be
not
rooting
really.
against him now.
I'm not playing you, so I guess it's fine. Or maybe I haven't even looked.
You're not. Next week.
But that's right. Ooh. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, it would be better for him if Brock Bowers is still not 100%, but I need to see it to believe it, and I just don't yet.
Yeah. Let's go through these last few games a little bit quicker here because they're all not too great. Actually, we disagree on all of them, or we disagree on the next 2 at least. And we got the Titans and the Texans. Of course, you're taking the Texans, even though they are 7.5-point favorites. So I guess I'm being the one that's bold here. I'm going with the Titans. They're both 0-3, and the only difference, I mean, both offenses are complete trash. The difference is the Titans are changing their play caller, and the Texans still aren't. So I'm going to take a leap of faith on the team that's actually trying to change something instead of the team that's doing the same thing over and over again. The Texans can't do anything. They've had just 4 red zone drives this season. They've scored 0 touchdowns on those red zone drives. They stink. And I'm not saying the Titans don't, but at least they're trying something new.
I think the advantage that Houston has, and the bias that I have, is the defense. Cam Ward has been sacked 1 billion times already this season. I think that continues this week. And I'm hoping that Houston can do something on defense to help promote some offense. And that's literally the only good thing I can say. I am so upset about Houston and what's happening right now. So it's probably my last ditch effort to to
you
pick
keep
Houston
losing because you keep picking Houston.
I know I can't. I literally thought about it. I was like, I shouldn't be picking them. And here I am picking them. So, joke's on me. I wore the hat for good luck though. So
you know what? I mean, for Houston, I'll be rooting for them. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's going to come through. Now, this next game, I'm going to be rooting for the team that I'm not picking again. I just have a weird feeling about this one. The Chargers against the Giants. Now, it is in New York, so a road game for the Chargers. The Chargers are 6.5-point favorites on the road, and the Chargers are 3-0 while the Giants are 0-3. I just have a feeling this is one of those trap games. And the Chargers lose in these stupid situations all the time. Like the Chargers charge all the time. And I think that's one of these games, especially with Jackson Dart coming in for his first game. They don't have much tape on him. And I think we get a surprise in this matchup.
Yeah. I mean, that's
this
a good
is just
take.
gut feeling. Like I don't have any real stats to go off of why I like the Giants, but you are picking the Chargers, which is probably the smart way to go.
No, yeah. I'm still on the train. Chugga. Right.
Oh, okay. Well, you jumped out last week. Relax.
I'm just saying I'm still on.
Did I
you
start
jumped
the train?
off apparently.
I didn't jump off. I don't expect the Chargers to go undefeated, and there's trap games all the time.
Okay, well, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. I just hope you're wrong. I don't think Jackson Dart starting against a red hot Chargers team is good for him. I think you're almost setting him up for failure. The Chargers defense is relatively good at the pass defense. Mm-hmm. So, I think there could be some interceptions in his future. And then the Malik Neighbors and Tyron Tracy Jr. injuries. Like, are they okay? Are they not?
Oh, Tracy will be out, but I love Cam Scatterboom more than him anyways. I think that's an upgrade.
Sure.
But yeah, obviously they need Malik Neighbors. If Malik Neighbors is not there, I'm taking back my pick and I'm going to the Chargers.
No, yeah, the picks are locked. They're literally locked already. So sorry about you. Yeah, I think this one, I don't think it's a trap. I just think the Chargers are better and they're going to win.
Now, another game where a team who destroyed their opponent last week, but we both don't agree that that was a serious game. It's the Panthers going up against the Patriots. The Patriots are 5.5-point favorites, so clearly Vegas isn't like, oh, Panthers are so good now too. We're both taking the Patriots. I get it. The Panthers looked great last week, but I think they come back down to life. The Patriots, they're both 1-2. The Patriots should have won last week against the Steelers. They should have.
Yes.
They just kept kicking themselves in the butt.
Yeah.
So as long as they don't turn over the ball 5 times, I think they're going to win. Drake May looks good. He really does. He's killing it in the passing game, averaging over 260 passing yards per game, 6th most passing yards per game in the league. He has a 72.6 completion percentage, 2nd in the NFL, or just behind Jared Goff. So I really like Drake May. I like what he's doing, and I think they handle business at home against the Panthers.
Yeah, I agree. I think last week was one of those like kind of fluke games. I think it said more, like I said, about Atlanta than it does the Panthers being good. I think this is New England's game to lose.
Now, there's 2 games on Monday Night Football, and I'm sure the schedule people tried so hard, right? They're like, ooh, these are going to be such good games.
Yeah.
They could not be worse. And it's the Jets against the Dolphins and the Bengals against the Broncos. So you get to decide between those games to watch and just, be so happy on Monday night. But the Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Jets. The Broncos are 7-point favorites against the Bengals now that they don't have Joe Burrow. That game would have been so good with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But we're both taking the Broncos and we're both taking the Jets. I don't know why I'm taking the Jets, honestly.
I know why, because Miami is embarrassing.
They really are, but the Jets are not embarrassing.
I think Miami is worse than New Orleans.
Wow.
I think Miami is the worst team in the league.
Well, right now their defense is the worst in the league, allowing the most points per game in the league at 32.3 points per game. I think if Justin Fields comes back from concussion protocol, they're going to run all over them.
Yeah.
And just Breece Hall, Justin Fields, and even Braylon Allen will run all over the Dolphins with Garrett Wilson getting his, yards through the air. And yeah, I mean, I guess if Sauce Gardner and company, Sauce Gardner got hurt last game, so we got to keep an eye on that.
True.
But you just got to stop Tyreek Hill, and pretty much you're fine.
I just think Tua's just not that good, and
that's not even a bold take.
No, it's not, because they're so bad. They're so bad. When I see Miami, I'm like, ugh, like I don't want to watch this game.
Yeah,
And
then we're both taking the Broncos because Jake Browning cannot stop turning over the ball. And Denver's defense has a good defense. And Jamar Chase is going to be covered by Pat Surtain. So even you can try to get Chase involved, but Pat Surtain is one of the best corners in the league, if not the best. So that's going to be difficult all around, and it's not going to be pretty. So I think the Broncos even cover the 7 points.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate because I think this is the part where Cincinnati's just there was so much hype around them for this year because they were so underwhelming last year. And now with Joe Burrow out, it's just going to be an unfortunate year for them. So I think the Broncos are an easy choice here.
Very much so. We went through all 16 games. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to get through, guys. Now, next week starts bye weeks, so we can even get deeper into these games and have more time. But we still have our 2-minute warning where we're going to give you our upset of the week. Now, maybe we spoiled it a little bit, but I don't think so. I think you guys might have some fun with this. So we'll get to that to end today's show.
2-minute warning.
All right, let's get to our upset of the week. And it's a team that's not supposed to win, but we are saying it's going to happen. Nycole, who you got?
Okay, you're going to be upset by my choice.
Is it going to be the Vikings?
No.
Oh, wait, it's going to be the Jaguars?
Yeah.
You picked the 49ers.
I know. Well, it's an upset to me too.
Okay.
I don't want it to happen. It's an upset.
Okay.
Like we talked about earlier, I just think the 49ers being 3-0 is great for them. I don't think it speaks to like that they're elite or anything. With all the injuries, I'm not convinced about the defense without Nick Bosa. I think they're going to be struggling to figure out their identity. And, it gives Trevor Lawrence the chance to throw some non-interceptions, some touchdowns, and potentially sneak out a win in this game.
It's not that I can't not see it happening. I don't think it's crazy, but you do hate on my teams. You're just mean. Well, I guess I didn't even do this on purpose. I am going against your team. Maybe you saw that, and that's why you're going against the 49ers. But I'm taking the Titans to upset the Texans. And you wouldn't think that's an upset, but 7.5-point underdogs the Titans are. That makes no sense to me. They won their game in Houston last year, 32-27. And I think they've upgraded at quarterback from, to Cam Ward, even though it hasn't come through with wins yet. I'm excited to see what they can do with their new play caller. And again, the Texans aren't changing anything. So there's only one team that's changing something. That gives me hope. They're both terrible teams, but 7.5 points when the Texans are 0-3, and look how they do on offense. Are they even going to put up 7.5 points? I don't know.
If they can get 3 field goals like the first game, I guess, like embarrassing, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, in 2 of their 3 games, they've scored 10 and 9 points, and they're 7.5-point favorites. That makes
the line doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah.
Go smash that real fast before it changes. Yeah. It may have already changed. I looked at this yesterday. But that is it for today's episode. We'll be back with you next week going through our week 5 games. We hope you all enjoy your football week and get your wins for your favorite teams, your wins for your fantasy teams. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Analyst in the Armchair. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on socials, leave us a review, and comment to let us know what you'd like to hear next time.